This is The Red Lens.
We're welcoming in a very esteemed guest. It is Myron Gaines. Give us a little bit about your background. Where you're from, where are you now?
So, a little background on me. I grew up in Connecticut. Unfortunately, Connecticut, the worst state ever. Highest exodus right now. Everyone's leaving Connecticut, man. The taxes are too damn high and it's too cold. Grew up in central Connecticut, hard-hitting New Britain. Grew up to immigrant parents from Sudan. Grew up a Muslim. Both my parents are still together. I'm proud of that. My dad was traditionally masculine. My mom was traditionally feminine. Grew up in a Muslim household. I really can't knock my parents, man. They raised me right. I really have nothing negative to say. They put me through school. I ended up going to college at Northeastern University in Boston. Rode Division I crew, or rode for 4 years there. It was fun. Most painful sport ever.
I bet.
And then, I've been around a couple states, lived in a couple states. Was in Texas before this, and now I'm in sunny Miami, Florida. So
he's breaking my heart, Franklin. We're over here freezing our asses off up in New York City. And he's walking around in shorts and a friggin' t-shirt.
Yeah, it's kind of cold. The past 2 days was freezing. I lost my jacket in Washington D.C. And dude, I've been freezing. It was like I would say like 50 degrees yesterday, which is cold for me.
I love it when they say that.
For you guys.
Yeah, we're cold. Yeah, we're freezing down here. It was only 60 degrees the other day.
I know.
Not for nothing. What, last week we had, last weekend, wasn't it? We had 70 or 69 or some kind of nonsense up here.
It's been unseasonably warm up here.
Yeah.
So. Oh, shit. Yeah, no, it hit like a low of 39 yesterday. I was freezing, guys. And I don't own a jacket anymore. I gave one of my vests away to my buddy, and then I lost my Patagonia jacket in DC. So I have nothing. I have like a little sweater, and that was nothing. So I was freezing yesterday.
Myron doesn't go outside of the Florida
man.
Florida state there. He just stays in the 80 degrees.
I don't even go up to Fort Lauderdale.
I
don't even go to Fort
Lauderdale.
I'm in 100% 305 Miami-Dade, baby. 786.
$1 million worth of North Face gear. So if I ever move down south, I'd have to sell it all.
Yeah, on Craigslist, man. You don't sell it here in Florida. You won't make no money, dude.
That's it. So you obviously you're into fitness. We can see that from your website, from the things you're involved in. Now, have you always been like the fitness nut? When you go out, you just like maybe woke up one day, looked in the mirror, and said, what the fuck? I gotta do something.
Yeah, man. So I grew up really skinny my whole life. I was like what they would call a hard gainer or an ectomorph. And in high school, I'll never forget. Graduated 2008. I'm about to turn 30 next month. Feels good.
Wow.
Actually feels. But so I grew up skinny. I'm 6'3". Back then I was 6'2", maybe an inch shorter, 164 pounds, soaking wet, right? And after I graduated, I was like, man, I hate being skinny. So what I did was I started going to the gym, lifting weights. And then I put on a decent amount of muscle, but I went about it all wrong. I was squatting with bad form. I was doing I was doing isolation movements way too much, like bicep curls and chest, every day, doing deadlifts incorrectly, like doing stupid shit. And eventually I figured out how to train correctly when I went to college, because in Division I athletics, they don't let you train with bad form on any of them with lifts, you know what I mean? Because then they're liable. So I learned good technique there, and then I applied a bit of a hypertrophy-based training through a lot of research. And, I was able to build a decent physique. And then in 2015, I was like, I'm going to do an experiment. And I actually got fat on purpose. I got up to about 250 pounds. I posted about it on my Instagram, IG Unplugged Fit, if you guys want to see what I look like as a lard ass. And I got really fat, 250 pounds. And I was like, okay, this sucks. So at the end of 2015, early 2016, I decided I'm going to cut the weight. And I basically systematically lost almost 50 pounds over 7 months. Just, training correctly, dieting correctly, tracking my calories. And ever since then, I was like, dude, like this is how you do it, and I like to apply science-based theory to all my training, and that's what I advocate. I'm always based, I love to give people the truth in fitness and like tell them, listen, man, don't follow the bro science, follow the real science. Look at the research, look at what really works and what doesn't work. And there's just so much BS in the fitness industry nowadays, where it's like, dude, I felt like I had to step up and give people the truth when it comes to fitness. You know what I mean?
Now, outside of the whole fitness thing, are you married? You single? Do you do fitness training 24/7?
Single, not married. Definitely don't intend on getting married anytime soon with this
There you
climate.
go.
There you go. See, that's great. That's
2020, man.
we're looking for, Franklin.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Miami, Florida. Yeah, I'm gonna get married. Yeah, okay. Good idea.
Yeah, I'd get in trouble getting married down here. You know,
Ugh.
it's just
That's
like
true.
this is by far the most beautiful women anywhere else in the world that I've ever seen. You know, highest concentration of them by far here in South Florida. So definitely not looking to get married. But yeah, no, man. The fitness training is my main thing.
Great.
You know, I really enjoy it. I love helping people out, getting them in shape, and yeah, man, and just spread the truth. Just being able to like tell people like, you know, common fitness fallacies. You know, like I'll give you guys a perfect example, and I always say this. You know, there seems to be a common trend. I'm sure you guys have heard this too from the internet and social media, etc. You know, intermittent fasting. You know, keto, zone diet, carnivore diet. You know what I mean? What diet is the best? Zone or paleo, or, you know, game changers, you know, put a huge magnifying glass on the vegan diet. The reality is this, and this is like one of the things I always tell people: calories in versus calories out is pretty much 95% of weight loss, you know? So they did a meta-analysis actually a couple of years ago where they took these different diets, right? You know, keto, paleo, et cetera, et cetera. And what they did was they found that if you equate calories and protein among all the different diets, weight loss is almost identical among all the different diets. So what's important? What's important is sustainability and adherence, what you enjoy. So I'm not anti-diet or or any type of, I'm not anti any camp. I'm just anti-zealot. Like, I don't like when guys come in and say, hey, this is the best diet, everything else is stupid. No, dude, everyone has different life preferences. Everyone has different, you know, things that they can adhere to that they enjoy. So if someone enjoys eating vegan, for example, because, you know, they have for ethical reasons, that's completely fine. If I tell you, hey, eat in a calorie deficit, train with weights, and sleep 8 to 10 hours a day, drink enough water, get enough protein, I can't really make money off telling you that, right? But I can make money off selling you bullshit supplements, telling you to buy my Fit Tea, telling you to buy my my weird program, you know. And it's there's just a lack of integrity a lot of times in the fitness industry, which is unfortunate. But, you know, we live in a capitalistic society where everyone's trying to make a quick buck.
I've read a lot. I've seen some things online where some guys have taken a lot of umbrage to you. They've questioned your techniques. They've questioned really your the results that you've gotten. And some of them I've seen have even claimed like, well, you're going to end up hurting people. So what do you say to those people?
Yeah, man. I mean, my thing is this. Like some 3 wise rappers once said, you got to walk it like you talk it, right? So I've been skinny. I've been fat. I'm a lifetime natural athlete. I've never done any illicit substance in my life, whether it's, you know, recreational or performance enhancing.
Sounds like me.
You know, yeah, you know, lived a lame life, drug free, but, you know, I've been able to apply the same principles that I use that got me to my results is what I teach other guys. And a lot of the times I, you know, help mitigate the same mistakes that I made too. And, you know, I've debated people before, you know, on these threads and Facebook and everything like that. And, you know, like a common one I get all the time is, oh, well, intermittent fasting leads to the release of growth hormone. Okay. Though that is true, people don't understand that growth hormone is not anabolic. And anabolic is just a fancy term for the viewers out there for saying produces a muscle building environment in the body. If HGH was like, yes, fasting for a prolonged period of time does release HGH, but that's because you stress your body by not consuming calories. And yes, when you finally do consume calories, it's going to release HGH, but HGH is not anabolic. If that were the case, then every Muslim that's fasting during Ramadan would be jacked, dude. But in reality, we all lose weight. So it's like, you know, with that logic, it's like, you know, come on, guys, use your brain. So, you know, that's a common thing that guys always want to argue with me. And my thing is when guys try to argue with me or try to debate me, I'll just cite the studies. You know what I mean? Because like everything I say, I'm able to cite some kind of resource, some scientific resource that was independently reviewed and everything. Yeah, man, I'm not out here just making claims.
Sometimes I think in the sphere, sometimes guys act like the girls that everybody talks about in terms of
Facts.
shining people off and just acting really feminine. It's all
Yeah.
about don't be weak. Not listening to
Absolutely.
somebody, that's pretty weak. So
Yeah, man. I mean, it's egos come into play, and I'm happy to debate a point, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Like if someone can, because my thing is I'm fact based. I'm always staying up on the latest research. I'm always reading these studies, and things are getting debunked every day. Like a common one is I know cryotherapy has exploded in the past couple of years, and we actually debunked this myth on Donovan Sharp's show. And cryotherapy for the guys out there is basically like submerging yourself in an ice chamber, whether it's ice water or like sitting in one of those like little tubes that freezes the crap out of you. And common technique used by athletes. But there was I think there's 3 studies out there now that show that if your goal is muscle growth and hypertrophy, cryotherapy is actually detrimental to you. Now, when it comes to recovery, where you have like multiple bouts and you're an athlete and performance is your primary goal, then yes, cryotherapy is great, especially with impact sports, football players, etc. But if your goal is to look better, which 99% of guys are doing to go to the gym, cryotherapy is not your friend. You know what I mean?
Is there a difference of your technique between men and women?
So with women, I have a routine, program that is leg and glute centric, and that pretty much we have a certain amount of volume that we're doing sets per week, and then I'm having them train legs and glutes 3 times per week, and we're basically splitting the volume up over multiple days. And actually, they found that like for muscle growth, training a body part 2 to 3 times per week is superior to training it only 1 time a week. So the guys that are in there doing chest day Mondays and shoulder day, then back day, then skipping leg day, like you guys are fucking up. So
Franklin, I wasted about 15 years of my life.
Oh, see, there you go. Last time I don't.
And even if you're not exercising, you can just by eating better, you can like lose a decent amount of weight or just improve vitality levels in general. And my normal advice to most of my clients, most of my guys, is I tell them, hey, listen, track your calories. 80% of your calories should come from, your quote unquote healthy foods, your lean meats, your vegetables, your healthy fats, your fruits, etc. And then the other 20%, you want to have a slice of pizza with your friends, you want to have a piece of cake with your girlfriend or whatever it may be. That's cool. There's everything in moderation. A little bit of alcohol, it's fine. But it's when you do things excessively that it becomes a problem. When like 50% or more of your diet is from like refined, crappy foods that you shouldn't be eating, then that's when you start hitting issues because those foods inherently. Because here's the thing, they did another study too, basically where they took like people and they gave them just nothing but McDonald's, but they ate in a calorie deficit and they still lost weight. So that proves that calories in versus calories out does dictate fat loss. But how do you feel when you eat that type of food? You feel like crap. You feel lethargic. Your satiety levels aren't high because the food itself is high in calorie, but it's not very sustaining. So you're more apt to overeat from eating those foods. You eat a bag of gummy worms, 500 calories. You're like, dude, I'm still hungry. So you're going to be way more prone to eat in a calorie surplus versus if you took that 500 calories, you could have easily eaten like 3 chicken breasts, some vegetables, and some rice, and you'd be full for 3 hours, right?
I'm with you on that. And one of the big things that I think about when I'm working out and I'm hard on my diet is I cut out fried foods altogether. I don't even go there.
Yeah.
And sugar,
yeah, because
like
it's fried foods. So fried foods typically the problem with fried foods is just to
it's
go.
Fried.
It's fried, but from a numerical standpoint, right? 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. 1 gram of carb is 4 calories. 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. So if you eat something that has, let's say, 50 grams of fat, that's going to be 450 calories. Boom, just in fat. That's not including the carbs and the protein. You know what I mean? So foods that are fried almost always have high fat content, and high fat content always leads to a lot more calories because it's over double protein and carbs. People always say, oh, carbs make you fat. Carbs make you fat. No, eating in a calorie surplus makes you fat. And typically that a lot of the times that comes from high fat foods like fried foods. So I agree with you, Cris. Like me personally, it's very difficult to fit in super fatty foods into your diet without putting yourself in a surplus. Like I always look at it like, let's say I have 2,000 calories a day to eat. I eat more than that, but let's say, for example, with easy numbers, That's like your budget for the day. So if you eat something super high in fat, well, you've just spent like 700 calories on fat, and you still got to hit your targets for protein and carbs. So it's like, damn, I just spent my budget, and then people are going to be less apt to stick to it. They're going to overeat and all these things. So yeah, I agree with you. Like in general, fried food should be avoided merely because they're typically going to lead to you overeating for the most part.
Right.
Can you control it in some instances? Yeah, but a lot of time not.
And you know, since you do look like an Adonis, I've seen these pictures. I mean, you're not just eating twigs and berries, are you, during the day? Like, well, what is your regular meal?
Oh, so I eat the same thing every day. I'm like a creature of habit, man. And the reason why I do eat the same thing every day is because consistency plus time equals results. That's like my formula. So I pretty much eat a Chipotle burrito bowl every day with double chicken, white rice, black beans, and mild salsa. I know that equates to around 750 calories. Then I have a meal prep service here in Miami, and they basically bring me food, and it has all the calories and macros on it. So I know exactly what I'm taking in. And then I typically take 1 to 2 shakes a day of protein. And then I'm eating like a bag of spinach and kale, half a bag of spinach and kale, the mix per day, and drinking a crap ton of water.
What is like some of the most common mistakes when people are eating and they're trying to either eat better or lose weight? You might have mentioned it slightly earlier.
Oh, this is a great question.
You know, what's really working against them? They think they're whether it be a supplement or just, you know, a type of food that's hot right now that people are like, oh, you got to take this if you want to cut weight.
Cris, that's an excellent question. I'm actually going to do like an Instagram post on this because I didn't realize like how often these mistakes get made. But I'll name like some ones off the top of my head that I could think of. Number one is like, January 1st hits. What's everybody doing? Oh, I'm going to start going to the gym 7 times a week. I'm going to start running on a treadmill an hour a day. And they just put themselves on like some kind of crazy training plan that is not sustainable. You know what I mean? And they lose some weight, but then eventually they're going to plateau because of something called metabolic adaptation.
Right. I've heard
because
of that.
They're eating too few calories and they're training way too much. And then their body's like, whoa, what the hell are you doing? Boom, plateau. And they smack a wall. So excessive exercise is number one. Number two, which I kind of alluded to, is drastic calorie deficit. So these guys go from eating, 3,000 calories or 4,000 calories a day, during Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving, through the holidays, then all of a sudden they want to go, all right, I'm going keto. I'm only eating lean meats and vegetables, or I'm going paleo or something. I'm a caveman now. And then next thing you know, they're taking in 1,000 calories a day. They feel like shit. They're falling asleep at their desk at work. And they're like, fuck this. And then they eat a pizza and then they get off the wagon. So they put themselves in a super strong calorie deficit. Next is subscribing to like stupid fitness ideologies. Oh, I'm going to start drinking this green tea or kombucha, you know what I mean, for gut health. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like they're basically looking at, they're putting the cart before the horse, right? They're looking at very minuscule things that might give them a slight advantage versus looking at the overall big picture of what needs to be done. One
of the things we like to do here is we like to try to find unique pictures that people put out there of themselves. And I just really would like a little explanation on this one. So
that was me at I was at EDC Vegas. That was back in like 2017. So yeah, EDC Vegas. That's in Vegas.
I actually went there too. It was actually 3 years ago. I went with a bunch of buddies, and let me tell you,
it's fucking nuts, man.
I tell people this all the time. If you can do it just once, that's all you need to do, because I never experienced something like that, because people don't understand. It's out in the raceway there. So
yeah.
Actually, now they have taxis and bus service. Before, like, you actually had to get your own ride out there, so it was a pain in the ass. Really? Yeah. So
I did not know that.
The year after we went, that's when they started to do shuttles from all the motels. So you could hop on every half hour. There was a bus that would go out there.
Yeah.
So we missed that one.
So-
They started doing that.
So literally the year
later.
prior. So you went in 2016 then?
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Right. Yes.
Okay, because I went 2017 and we used those shuttles. It still took a while to get out there, man. It was like 40 minutes to get out there.
Oh,
It's out there in the middle of
absolutely.
nowhere.
But I mean,
So
just
it's like,
dude, the mass of like people that were there. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember I went down there and I told one of my buddies, I was like, look, you got to make sure like we don't get separated because like the cell phone service wasn't even good there. Like there was like
no, it's non-existent.
Oh.
I got lost. I got lost there on my third day. Yeah, for all the guys in here, for all the guys that are unaware of EDC Vegas, it's by far the craziest, electronic music festival. I think it puts Ultra to shame. I've been Ultra the past 3 years, and I'm a big fan of house music. Yeah, I've never been to Ibiza, but in the United States, EDC Vegas is by far the best. But the only problem is that it's nuts because it starts at 6 p.m. You go all night, and then it's out in the middle of fucking nowhere. So it's like you're in a desert partying, and there's no service. If you lose your friends, you're like,
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
There's other stories we can share about that, but that's not for public consumption.
Not YouTube friendly, right?
We'll move on from that one. But I thought that was great, that picture. So we had to embarrass you a little bit. So we do that with all the guests.
I got family from Egypt as well. So
there you go.
Got to pay homage. Yeah,
that's on my list of places to go. Actually,
getting the most bang for your buck, most protein. I would say Quest bars are pretty good. They just don't taste that good. Keeping it real. Yeah.
Are they normally nuts, peanuts, chocolate, or how are they?
Some of them have nuts. It depends. There's like a million flavors of them.
Is that right?
I would say, yeah, definitely check. But I know edamame and chickpeas, you should be fine.
I'll stay with that. Well, what did Jack LaLanne say back in the 70s or 80s? If it tastes good, spit it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like super old school.
Yeah, it's what did you just say? You said that those bars are terrible.
Yeah. No, they are. They definitely are.
I must have dated a lot of girls that liked what they were doing. If we're talking about spitting stuff out. Anyway, jumping off of that, in terms of like, I know this is a yes, but you must have seen, since you've worked out and you've redefined your body, the quality of girls that you had, attainable to you must have went through the roof, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it better.
In the dating world now, man. Shout out to Jonathan from Modern Life Dating and Donovan and all these other and Rich that help guys out with this. Having a good physique is just like it's one of the few things you can control. In this modern world, man, it's tougher and tougher for men to date. The reality is women have become more selective with feminism. That's just the reality. They make their own money. A lot of them are successful on their own. So the old school methodology of, I'm going to make $50,000 a year and be a good husband and, I have good credit, like that's not good enough anymore, So you got to diversify yourself. You got to take care of yourself. You got to keep your teeth clean, go to the gym, dress better, be better. And that's what we're trying to help guys do is become better versions of themselves. In today's age, man, you got to get in shape because here's the thing. When you get in shape, it says a lot more about you as a human being, right? As a man, like it shows that you discipline. It shows integrity. It shows that you can do something. You can do something and like stick to it. And it's just in general, like women are attracted to men that are in shape, that display a certain physique, which is a certain shoulder to weight. They did a study on this actually, and they found women found the most attractive feature in men. One of them was having a certain shoulder to waist ratio, which is 1.6. So you want your shoulder to be 1.6 times wider than your waist. So when you have that upside down triangle figure, it helps you a lot when it comes to, meeting women. And, it's no excuse, man. Guys got to get in shape nowadays in 2020. There's too much information out there. There's no excuse to be out of shape. But sorry, last question.
That was always the thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. My last question to you is, what is the goals for Myron Gaines for this year? What are your goals?
My goal, definitely try to improve my physique, try to build these twig arms I got going on here. Do I even lift? And then my other goal is, push the truth out to the guys. I'm planning to release a YouTube channel here next month or so. Start putting out some content. Come
Good.
back on the show. Do some
no,
presentations for you guys.
You have an open door.
Thank you, Cris. And we can definitely do a full thing where, I break down fat loss, break down how to build muscle, break down whatever it may be. We can do Q&As, whatever it may be. But yeah, man,
no,
that's the goal, putting out the content to everybody.
Yeah, and one of my things that I read, the reason why I started doing what I was doing, I come across people like yourself that are doing good things, that are giving good information out there. And if I can just give you guys a platform to come in and talk about those things and get your names out there, get your multimedia stuff out there, that's what I want to do. So
thank you, man. I mean, you're putting out good content yourself, man. You had Rollo Tomasi on here. You got some big hitting guests. So it's great, man.
And I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to continue this. That's my goal. My goal for this year is to get more wide, varied people up.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, it's about getting guys the truth, helping men become better versions of themselves. I feel like a lot of guys need help in today's day and age. That's why I feel like Jordan Peterson's exploded. Is because we got, as Rollo Tomasi family says, this lost boy generation, which is common in my generation. So as long as you get the truth out there to guys and help them out, when it comes to fitness, finances, dating, general self-improvement, grooming, fashion, confidence, mental health, helping people out is what it's all about, man. Male or female. So, yeah.
Another thing. I'm sorry, Cris. Go ahead.
You got something?
Yeah, just curious though. I mean, we're on the East Coast, down South Florida, hip scene, etc., West Coast, and all like that. Does the same does the same information go for the kid who lives on the farm in Ottumwa, Iowa, or Idaho, or in the middle of the country where he's not going to be where he's not going to see the same type of women? I mean, type of a thing.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think where he's
not going to be exposed to the same type of woman. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I totally get where you're going. I think traits that make a male attractive are universal. Keep straight, clean teeth, dressing well, conveying yourself correctly with the English language. Having a good command of the English language and speaking appropriately. You know what I mean? Being educated, being in shape, being confident. I think all these things are universally attractive. Now, with that said, obviously, you're going to be in a little bit more of a competitive market in New York City, LA, Miami, Vegas, Boston, these major metropolitan cities, where there's an abundance of attractive women. But I think the same applies whether you're in Los Angeles or like Dubuque, Iowa. It's just, these traits are inherently attractive universally. And I think guys need to learn these things and just become better versions of themselves. Financial security, etc. All these things are universally attractive.
Thank you.
No worries, man.
All right, now go out there and enjoy your 80-degree temperature.
While you guys freeze?
Oh my God.
While we freeze.
He's probably got a pool at the condo complex that he has.
I do.
Looking at my temperature setting,
Four or
it's 35
five girls
degrees.
waiting for him down there.
It's 35 right now. We're freezing.
You know what I got waiting for me outside? Like a friggin' 18-degree temperature.
Hey, look on the bright side, man. You're going to be able to wear a short sleeve shirt in 7 months. No big deal.
Oh, great. Thank you.
6-7 months.
Thank you. All right. On that note, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And
great having
me.
Anytime you have something that you want to get out there, you want to talk about, all you got to do is just drop me a line. All right, man?
Anytime, man. Thank you guys for having me. It's been fun. Guys, hit me up on IG if you need some help. Unplugged Fit. UnpluggedFitnessLife.com. And yeah, man, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Right. Have a great night.
Nice to have you
Later.
on. We'll see you again soon.
Pleasure.